I had a very productive weekend. I uploaded to BitChute my entire video series, or I'm not quite done yet because I have again run into what I'm thinking is censorship. I've got a few videos that seem to need a few peer reviews, and they always seem to have to do with the intimidation factor I've been talking about with biotech, Bill Gates. Interestingly enough, one of my stories right at the very beginning, which was called Intimidation and Living in the Light of Truth. And that was the day I talked about being followed in my local grocer and what went down. So that one's not loading. I found my purpose when they stole our freedoms. That one's also being hung up. That was my top viewed so far. So on YouTube. It's pretty inspirational. And that's kind of what they go after. As David Icke had said in his interviews with London Real and Brian Rose, he spoke about the authenticity factor. You see, I am a different face on the truth. There are some wicked women out there doing some great work. But there's also a lot of men, and it's pretty male dominated. So it's pretty interesting to see the women moving up, but also a new face. We're getting away from the angry white men that we have typically seen in truth, doing a lot of yelling. Us women, we're asking questions. We're not yelling. This is widening the audience for sure. And I think my role in all of this at the beginning was Agenda 2030. But also doing what I did in hemp 10 years ago. Well, 20 years ago, sorry. Time flies. When I got involved in hemp, it was a male-dominated area. And of course, it was illegal. It was associated with marijuana to a lot of people who believe the mainstream. Dirty, horrible thing. Hemp, what would you need that for? And that's why I got involved, because it was a challenge to make hemp a household name where people understood the difference between it and marijuana, and also learned about how incredible one plant can be and how many uses, the versatility. And that to me was exciting. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why it was illegal. In truth, it has an image. And the media continues to try to make the concerned people, the truth community, the people digging in, to make us look like wingnuts. And of course, the women are putting a whole new spin on it, which is great. I am absolutely impressed with the amount of women coming my way on Facebook from all over the world. Moms, health professionals, people concerned about 5G technology, concerned about the vaccination agenda, concerned about Bill Gates and why he's got so much power and why we're all being held hostage by him and biotech. As the pandemic has proliferated, a lot of people who maybe never identified with being on the truth side or the common sense side, or maybe even more the conservative side, are starting to see through. And I'm seeing them get more active in social media. And the first thing I often see is people, for example, people that I've known forever, interjecting the odd question. They're learning from all the comments and all the conversation we have on the feed. They're learning from the conversations I'm putting forth right now in my videos. And it's all these little clues that get people thinking. And that's why I have done the format I am doing, having the conversation. Because as I know from promotions, I've got about 20 seconds to get your attention, or you're just going to pass me by. You're not going to try anything, and you're certainly not going to talk to me. And honestly, you don't get a sample unless you talk to me. So I learned that you have to engage, and I have to be quick. So I have to come up and figure out where you're at, and I've got 20 seconds to do it. And it's in the conversation. So what I try to do is throw it on them and get them to tell me why they're in the health food store. And that's where I pick up my clues. That's what happens to the people on the feed. So when you've got that one friend who you've known forever, grew up together, a lifetime of friendship, and all of a sudden they're slinging mud on your feed, and you're going, what the heck? You see, like a lot of people who have discovered their respective truths over the years, social media makes it very difficult for you to break out of the box. And it's also part of that design that we're in. Facebook is a social credit program. So it's laced with judgment. And it's meant to do that. That's why all those emojis are there. When I see people starting out, trying to post, a lot of times, and most every time, it's not met with, oh wow, that's awesome. I'm really glad you found that out. It's usually met with, what the hell is that? Why are you saying that? Negativity. And a lot of us, for me, over the years, I would often speak my truth, pretty much all the time. And I would find that I would have people with their back against the wall. And I wondered why in the world that would be so terrible. I've learned that people would prefer if I acted disingenuously. And Facebook actually prefers if you act disingenuously. It's all about saving face. It's all about your ego. What happens is that you learn that a lot of people that you've been giving your time and energy to over the years don't have your back. And they also, the worst to come to terms with, is the fact that they don't believe in you. It's hard. And I see people letting it go on their feeds. And that's when I jump in. And I encourage people, if you are trying to speak to your friends or you've shared something of mine and you're getting hammered, let me know. I've done that with a few people lately. Justin is one of them in Ontario. He is a concerned guy. And his friends were causing some serious bad energy to the point that I was like, wow, that's It's ridiculous. How are you ever going to get a conversation going here? So I told him he should start blocking. And he did. And it was funny because I watched in about 4 or 5 days, his feed was blowing up, man. There was fantastic conversation, productive conversation, all of it. These are life lessons that so many of us don't ever learn. We wonder why things don't change in our life, and I'm not sure why we can when we are still hanging out with the same people that are doing the same old thing and aren't growing. We're supposed to grow. We're supposed to learn. And sometimes you can't take everybody with you. You just can't. If you want new friends, you got to let some go. Right now, we're in the middle of the greatest emergency to our humanity. And you need to know who your friends are more than ever now. This is coming down. What I see are a lot of people getting angry. A lot of people saying, hey, you know what? We went along with this, but now the empty hospital rooms, the centers that were constructed just for the pandemic being emptied, never being used, doctors on a paid vacation, surgeries behind, small business decimated. Measures in stores that are not going to go away. Enrollment in school that most likely will have a mandatory vaccine agenda. We have plans that we are still in a state of emergency here, even though in my province we've had 12 hospitalizations. Things are going to get rougher before they get better. And if you're one of those people that believe in free will, democracy, freedom of expression and of speech, then you need to be standing up right now like never before, because this is the last chance here. We've got front groups everywhere right now. I'm watching these lockdown groups and I'm wondering who's running them. I see that they can't share. They're private groups. There's issues I'm experiencing with putting my videos on their feeds, and when somebody tries to load them, they're being restricted. Interesting, from YouTube. It's something with those groups. I urge everyone to look into the lockdown groups that you are subscribing to. Because what these are these are outlets for you to... It's not doing anything. Right now we need directed effort. Who are they? Are they your friends, or is this a box for you to let out your frustrations and make yourself feel like you're participating? We're not participating in anything there on Facebook. We're not. I use Facebook to educate myself, to connect me with a lot of very savvy people all over the world, free thinkers. I use it to gather information, but one by one, these platforms are infiltrated everywhere. And so is Facebook. All too many of these groups, these petitions online that we've always looked into, look at, they've done nothing. We need to stop. We need to look at them, assess them, break them down, figure out who's on our side and who's not. We have a lot of false fronts out there and a lot of people wearing masks. We would not be in this position had they not been. This is why we do not recognize the landscape, because it looks like everybody's done a 180 here on freedom. How did that happen? Who's actually dealing with this stuff? Are you signing a petition and it's just going into air? Where are they going? We need to dig in. We need to clean up our friends list. And mostly, we need to surround ourselves with people that are seeing the light, because we need to be empowered right now. Not bickering and arguing with people that refuse to look at facts, figures, who refuse to read, who refuse to do their own research. We have no time for them. We're going to have to save this for them, because clearly they're not intelligent enough to look at facts. We're in a serious crisis beyond anything we've ever known in our history in the West. It's time to dig in and start taking this seriously. We can't just talk about it. We have to act. We have to connect. And mostly, we need to figure out what we're dealing with here. Because as far as I can see, it's infiltrated everywhere. When I look at Alberta, the place I grew up, I left there because it was so redneckish. And now it's communist. With what's happening, the parks, the crazy measures, a protester getting dragged out of a protest yesterday. Calgary, the Muslim prayer being allowed on loudspeaker in the city. What is happening? Because this is not democracy. This is not freedom. This is not our country. This is not our Canada that's playing out. This is a totalitarian dictatorship. And we need to gather, dig through our contacts, figure out where we're at. It's now or never time.